Welcome back. For the third week of the summer, we're going to be reading a retelling of the Ramayana. In Sanskrit, the Ramayana is a combination of two words, Rama and Ayana. The first is the hero of the epic poem, Rama. The second, Ayana, literally means to travel or a journey. So the Ramayana is the journey of Rama. The Ramayana is also the only living religious text, meaning that this is a holy scripture for Hindus and many Buddhists around the world. We, however, are going to be reading a retelling that takes out the devotional poetry, similar in style to the Psalms of the Bible, and creates a plot-driven novella within the story. Think of it as how we retell the teachings of the Bible in children's stories, often removing all the who begot whom and all the devotional aspects and just telling the story of what happens. With the exception of Gilgamesh, which we aren't reading this semester, the Ramayana is considered the oldest epic in the world. The story was originally written in Sanskrit around the 7th to 5th century BCE and is accredited to Valmiki. But the story of Rama and his wife Sita is vastly older than that and was an oral story, unlike Homer's Iliad. The poem consists of nearly 24,000 shlokas or verses, each consisting of a couplet composed of 32 syllables of verse. While the bulk of the story is that of Rama and Sita, the epic poem also consists histories of various parts of India and connecting territories, as well as allegories that present on the teachings and goals of human life, much as you would expect any holy text. So in other words, there's a lot going on in the Ramayana than just the story of Rama's journey. This is one of the reasons we're using a modern retelling. As mentioned earlier, the Ramayana is a holy scripture within Hinduism. Hinduism is the oldest still practiced religion in the world. The religion is made up of a diverse family of philosophies and traditions that differ between regions, sects, and schools. One way that you could think of it is like the differences between different aspects of Christianity, like Baptists, Methodists, Catholics, they all believe in the same basic principles, but they have slightly different retellings and expectations. The religion of Hinduism is so old that it does not have an identifiable beginning in history. It's older than recorded history. Nor does it identify as a single founder, a central establishment, or a sole authoritative scripture. However, all Hindus practice the concept of oneness through the existence of pluralism. Now, the concept of pluralism is that all beings, from the smallest organism through man, are considered manifestations of the divine. This makes the universe a family, interconnected and related to everything around us. It is our relationship to others and ourselves that is our responsibility to meet in life. However, under the concept of pluralism, Hinduism also teaches that there is no one true path to truth, but that there are many different paths, or yogas, as there are individuals. However, this does not mean that it is not a unity to truth, only that there are infinite possibilities to attain our individual truth. In other words, we each have one path towards truth and enlightenment, and no two paths are the same. And what is righteous action, or dharma, for one person might be a sin or an adharma for another. But that only if we follow our dharma can we obtain oneness with the universe and relinquish our earthly bodies forever to become an infinite part of the universe. And that is the goal of Hinduism, to become part of the universe again. Now, to understand the Ramayana, you first have to understand the principles of samsara, or reincarnation, and how karma is used in samsara. So Hinduism suggests that life is not a one-time affair, but a continual cycle, an eternal loop of birth, death, and rebirth, which each life our soul improves or doesn't improve based on the karma of our collected samsaras or lives until the soul reaches a state of perfection and is freed from the perpetual cycle of samsara. And that freedom is called moksha. To improve one's cycles, or at least future cycles and future lives, one must live according to the natural laws and live out their accumulated karma while simultaneously refraining from creating new painful karmas. So in other words, you have to live out all the actions of your past life or lives and not injure anybody else moving forward. The gods also experience a type of samsara in which they descend to earth in order to obtain cosmic balance by imparting profound teachings and help others move through their samsara on their yoga to moksha. So in other words, through their rebirths on the path to enlightenment. Your karma determines the direction of your samsara, whether or not you improve or take a few steps back. And it's built up and taken away throughout all of your decisions in your current life and all previous lives that you've lived until you have reached the most holy plane of existence, the moksha. Then you can become one with the universe and you quit your earthly toils and your earthly beings and become part of everything. As with the Greek pantheon, that word's hard for me to say sometimes. As with the Greek pantheon, Hinduism has a large number of deities. However, there's a supreme trinity, or the Trimurti, which consists of Shiva, the destroyer, Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the preserver. And we're going to be talking about Vishnu. Each of these have different avatars or bodies that they have when walking on earth. And Vishnu is generally more involved with mortal affairs of mankind and is said to have taken on at least 10 major avatars or reincarnations in an attempt to restore dharma or righteousness and cosmic order among men. His three most known avatars are Rama, who we see in the Ramayana, Krishna, who we see in the Bhagavad Gita, which is part of the Mahabharata, and the Buddha, which we see in the Buddhist teachings. It's important to note that the avatars are typically unaware that they're an avatar until they have reached their own moksha, but this isn't always the case. For instance, Rama eventually knows that he is Vishnu, though he doesn't really tell anybody. And they cannot acknowledge this state. If they do, figure it out, or else their avatar will be unable to complete their task, which is why Rama doesn't tell anyone that he is Vishnu. To distinguish himself as Vishnu, regardless of his avatar, he's often depicted as a blue man with a halo surrounding him, as you can see in this picture. And that's Rama and his wife Sita and the golden deer, which we'll talk about later. As Lord Rama, Vishnu's seventh reincarnation, teaches the importance of dharma or righteousness through commitment of truth, duty, and honor, while facing the eternal struggle between good and evil on the path to virtuous living. There are three primary themes within the Ramayana: divine love, bhakti, which is devotion, and seva, selfless service, and then also the victory of light over darkness. Divine love is the central story following the trials and tribulations of Rama and his wife Sita. Bhakti and Seva are presented through Rama's ardent devotion to Hanuman, the mighty monkey god, which we'll talk about next week, and the victory of light over darkness, which is portrayed first in the epic battle between Rama and Ravana, but also in the challenges that Siva faces and Rama's continual pursuit of Dharma for others. Ultimately, the Ramayana teaches us that regardless of how life tests us, we must stay true to the path that Dharma leads us, leading not to attempt to change the direction of the wind, but to adjust our sails to remain true. The Ramayana opens with young Rama. An old man comes to his father, who is a king, and says that to meet his destiny, Rama must go on a journey. The king, who respects the old man's teachings, agrees to this part with his favorite son. And the old man suspects that Rama is Vishnu, though he tells no one. Instead, the journey presents Rama with various trials against various gods. Rama passes each and helps each god move on in their journey to reach Moksha. And his success is how we know that Rama is an avatar of Vishnu. Before returning home, Rama sees Sita, a woman as pious as she is beautiful, and falls instantly in love with her. They are soon married, and Rama returns to discover that his father has decided to pass him the throne. The decision is where we start our reading for the week. Our book has a list of characters and who they are. This may be helpful in keeping track of the names of these characters who are likely going to be very foreign to you. I also suggest asking Google how to pronounce the names. A quick how do you pronounce Kikei, for example, will help you learn how to pronounce Kikei. Also, several of you expressed an interest in the How to Read World Literature assignment about alternative perspectives, especially that of women, could change the story. There's this amazing novel called Kikei that presents her story in a way that changes her from one of the villains in the Ramayana to a misunderstood heroine who just wants the best for her son and has never gotten anything good in her life, really. It's heartbreaking, it's beautifully told, and it gives a more modern and in-depth understanding of how we can understand the Ramayana and the actions that lead Rama into exile. I'll see you all in Hypothesis to discuss these chapters, and happy reading.